The Green Paper asks whether the BBC should still broadcast Radio 1 and Radio 2. Where is the audience demand for that? Are people shouting, what do we not want now? We don't want Radio 2, and when do we not want it? Now. Of course they're not. Radio 2, Radio 1, these are the most popular radio stations in Europe. Why on earth is he considering even closing them down? He says the review will look at the scale of the BBC, his words, scale, a point repeated on page 4 of the Green Paper. Will he confirm that this is in direct contradiction to the recent negotiations with the BBC, where he said that he would not look at the scale of the BBC, he would only look at the purposes of the BBC? Is his real aim a smaller BBC? I see the Minister is nodding his head that it is his aim. I ask because many will be worried that this is just what the Daily Telegraph predicted on the 12th of May, that Tories go to war with the BBC because the Prime Minister is infuriated with its election coverage. Would it not be profoundly unpatriotic to seek to diminish the BBC and thereby diminish the Britain? Has any member ever met a foreigner who said to me, you know what, I love Britain, I just hate the BBC? Of course they haven't. Mr. Speaker, you go on the wrong holidays. Mr. Speaker, there are some things, yes, probably in Russia. Probably in Russia. Or Italy under Berlusconi. Mr. Speaker, there are some things we can agree on. The BBC always needs reform. The Trust is bust. These 3 weeks prove it. Either the chair of the BBC Trust lip-syncs the Director General, or frankly, she undermines him. Whatever the new structure, and I personally favour a unitary executive board with the primary regulatory role being met by a board of Ofcom, the next charter must ensure that the Chancellor's backroom, gun-to-the-head way of doing government business with the BBC can never be repeated. The BBC is not a government plaything, nor should it be a branch of the Department of Work and Pensions. It belongs to the licence fee payers, and the public should have a say in its future, as he himself wrote earlier this year. Will he make sure that that is the case in the future?